This is Discussions with David Ramsey on JNN.
Welcome to the first episode of Discussions with David by JNN. I'm David Ramsey, and this is my guest, Jacob Grimsley, who's a fellow student at Madison Central and a good friend of mine. So today we're really going to be covering the main topic of social media and how it's affected our generation and how it affects the world. And I've got a list of topics, and I'm just going to start. We're going to start. So social media really, it causes you to compare yourself to the other people that have social media. What are your thoughts on that, Jacob?
So, the main thing, when I was looking into, researching this topic and kind of educating myself on the topic, the kind of opinion that I've, formed about it is, I don't think that social media creates the problem of, comparing yourself. I think it just makes it worse. It makes it easier to access because you've got your phone in your pocket right there all the time. You pull it out, you scroll through your feed or your timeline, and you see all these people. Before social media, people still compared themselves, to people on TV, people in movies, and, even you walk through the hallways and you compare yourself to other people, but, it's simply, the access that social media gives that I think, is the main issue with comparing yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Social media is something where before it was around, you'd go to school and you'd see other people, and, of course, you'd compare yourself to other people, but now we go home and we still have it in our hands, and we have it at all times to where we can see what people are doing in their life. And that the weird thing about that is it's not only what people are doing in their life, but they tend to post the positive things that happen in their life more than stuff that goes wrong. So it kind of portrays this false reality that their life is perfect. And for someone that's on social media, a user, you look at that and you're like, why can't my life be that exciting? Why can't I have that much fun,
Especially, in our age, age or whatever, but, in our generation, people who compare themselves, they already have, a lot of, anxiety issues, and, our generation has a lot more problems with, mental health and stuff. So, being the ones who compare ourselves this easily is even worse for our generation. And I think editing pictures also creates a huge issue, because not only do you already have these cool pictures in cool places, but you also can make them look how you want just by using an app that is easy for everyone to use. So you never get a real picture, and comparing the real life to this person's best moments is what creates the problem, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like that editing thing that you talked about, it's more of an issue for girls if you think about it, because
Definitely.
They seem to be the ones that, there's the Instagram models who have the perfect body, and it sets these body expectations for the teenage girls, and girls of all ages, as a matter of fact. But, I feel like for men, it's not as much of an issue.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely still an issue, but with girls, it's even worse, because guys, there's a lot of, different things that are acceptable, but, for girls, there's such a streamlined, vision of what a girl should look like that social media and editing can have, a huge effect on, a lot of, girls' mental, state and how they think of themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And, we've been talking about some of these negatives for social media, but a good thing about social media is we've really seen it with our generation is people have the chance to become viral. Just think of the yodeling boy from Walmart. One day he was this little kid, and he lived in Tennessee with his family, and then one video gets posted, and next thing you know, he's performing at Coachella. He's just huge. And that's something that you can really look forward to with social media, because you have this chance of being famous that you couldn't have had before it was invented.
Kind of makes that whole world more accessible.
Yeah, social media definitely opens up just the world for you, and it opens up communication with everyone, which, I'm pretty sure that's the premise of social media, is to be able to communicate with people all over the world. And, it's unique, honestly.
That communication, though, also causes the whole problem of, missing out. if like I'm sure most high school students, if they think about like maybe I don't need social media, but then your next thought that comes into your head is what am I gonna miss? Like I'm not gonna be in the loop. I'm gonna miss all these things that everybody's talking about. I'm gonna have no clue like what's going on at the school or in the world if like I don't use this. So I feel like the way that social media is presented, like in modern day, like creates like this like vision that it's like necessary for your everyday life, and like in a way it has become like very almost required to like stay in touch with people and to stay in the loop, because like a lot of people don't text anymore, they don't call anymore, like, and obviously they don't write very much, like unless it's special occasion. Like in a lot of ways, like social media is the exclusive way that like people communicate now. So
yeah, it's completely changed the way that people communicate for sure. Yeah, and social media, one thing about it being so essential almost to everyday life, or for what it seems to be essential, is that people can become addicted to it, almost like it's a drug, And I've read a lot about just symptoms that people who use social media have, and they get the same symptoms as people who use drugs. They can get depression. They actually, I've experienced the withdrawal of not having social media for even if I check my phone every 5 minutes, and there's actually a stat that says that the average human checks their phone 85 times a day, which is insane to me because the way that social media has really just made us check our phones, and we need to be seeing what other people are doing, and we just like mindlessly scroll through.
Yeah, what you were talking about, like you experienced the withdrawals. I've been to multiple things where like not having my phone for like 2 days, like, and you'll find yourself like you'll reach to your pocket like in an awkward situation, or like if nobody's saying anything or you don't know how to continue a conversation, you'll reach for your phone, and like you'll realize that it's not there, which makes it like even more like you don't know what to do. Like people have become to the point where they feel handicapped without their phone, and it's a lot to do with like social media and constantly being connected to everyone else. Like you don't have to like think for yourself a lot of the time. You're just intaking all this information and like just like barely even processing it as you just scroll, like you were saying. And with like the time and like amount of times you pick up your phone every day, like I know for like a lot of phones have added features that let you see like that amount of time, and like I'll sometimes go in there and I'll look and it's like hours and hours that like you don't even realize. Like it's so like absent-minded now. Like you'll see and you'll be like, all right, like it's even more, you were on your phone more that day than you weren't. Like that, like there's been a few days like that for me, and it's just like it, like you just like you don't even realize anymore like how bad it's gotten because of like everybody does it. Like everybody has a smartphone. Like my little brother is in the 6th grade and has a smartphone. Like everybody has them. So
I know it's even changing for people younger than us. Like I got my phone in probably like 7th grade, and the only reason I got it is my parents were like, we need you to be able to call us if anything goes wrong with transportation or etc. But I mean, I hear about kids nowadays who are in 3rd, 4th grade and they have a cell phone, and that's just ridiculous to me,
I mean, at the same time, it's definitely like crazy that like these young kids have it, but the world just like encourages it. And like my little brother has social media, and like that's I don't know, like I don't really know what use like you have for social media at that age, but like it's crazy how like just these few years like they see social media so differently than we do. Like my brother, like even though like we both use technology, like I see it like in younger kids all the time, like they use it different ways than we do. Like even though we're all using it, like there's so many different purposes, but I feel like social media, like when it boils down to it, like is the root of like all this like obsession with technology. And another thing that like I came across when like kind of educating myself on the topic a little more was notifications. Like all these notifications from Instagram are so distracting, and like you said with addiction, like these notifications are what like fuel that. Like you constantly have like this buzzing and like these lighting up, like the screen is just lighting up, like begging you to like pull out your phone and look at it. And like I'll be in class and like even if like I'm super interested in what's going on, I'll still find like it vibrating in my pocket. Sometimes I'm just like, I wonder what that was. Like that thought crosses your mind, even if sometimes you don't act on it. Like notifications, I feel like have definitely become a huge problem.
Yeah, and I mean, this has happened to me. I don't know if it's happened to you, but doctors have diagnosed there's this thing called phantom vibration syndrome.
Yes.
And I find it happens to me all the time. Phantom vibration syndrome is basically whenever you feel like your phone buzzes, so you look at your phone and then nothing happened. And that just kind of shows what it does to your mind, just the simple buzzes of things happening. And it really has affected my attention span so much. As a child, before I had my phone, when I was bored, I'd like read a book.
Yes.
Or I'd go and play outside. And now that I've gotten onto social media and I'm Snapchatting people and I'm on Instagram, scrolling through Instagram, it's gotten to the point now to where if I have an assignment to read a chapter from a book or something, it's hard for me to read that book without thinking or checking my phone and interrupting my reading. It just really has affected my attention span.
I think it also like affects focus in the same way. Like you said, like when I'm working on homework, like it takes me so much longer than if like I sat down and actually did it. And it's not that like I'm not aware because like I'm talking about it, but it's just like you can't help it. Like it's just how it is. And you were talking about the phantom vibration. Like I feel like sometimes you check your phone like just for a peace of mind, and like I feel thinking about it, like that peace of mind that you need like by checking your phone might be like a contributor to like anxiety, like how much like anxiety has become a problem like with our generation, like people like right around us, like that, like if you're constantly like worried about what's going on and like constantly worried about who's trying to communicate with you or like who like is reaching out to you, like that like should clearly like shows that you could get anxiety from that, like just knowing that like if you're not on your phone, like you could be missing something. Like
yeah. And earlier you were talking about how you can check and see how long you've been on your phone for each day. And something that I like to do is I like to look at that and I'm like, man, if I took this time out of my day and I read a book or I did my homework or I, got a 30-minute workout in, like how much better would my life be without this constant obsession with checking my phone?
Yeah, and like even worse, I also like kind of came across this whole thing about like fragmented attention span, which like if it's not even that people are on their phones like for extended amount of time, but it's almost worse to like be the person who pulls it out for a minute 10 times an hour. Like that's 10 minutes that you've just thrown away and you haven't even realized it because it's in these like small like fractions of time, and it seems like nothing, but like it all adds up. And like it's like you said, like you realize like if you turn in a homework assignment late or you don't get something done, like think about it. If you would have just taken like even like half the time that you spent probably that hour on like doing your homework or like doing a school assignment, you probably would have gotten it done. So yeah.
And one good thing about social media though is how it's kind of revolutionized marketing and advertisement. It's really helped businesses and entrepreneurs, in fact, because if you're trying to start up your business, I mean, the best thing that you can do is make an Instagram account, make a Facebook, make a Twitter, just start just feeding the consumers and the audience just stuff about your business. And it's really helped a lot of businesses start up.
Yeah, just like being able to like pay money just to get an ad on Instagram, like how many people see that, like they just scrolling through, and even if like they don't like think it's like cool, you're at least getting the word out there, so yeah, it definitely has made advertising easier and like starting your own and like growing your own wealth, definitely.
I agree. I think we're gonna wrap it up. This has been Discussions with David. I'm David Ramsey, and this was my guest Jacob Grimsley. See you next time.
This has been Discussions with David Ramsey on JNN. For more content, visit youtube.com/JNN The Central.